Been trading YM 7+ years. Only trade 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I only give myself about 3 shots to get the trade off. So gonna go over this week's setup so far. What trades I took, what trades I didn't, and why. Tomorrow is Friday. Don't know what we're gonna get. Open to see what happens. I may or may not take a trade tomorrow. But so starting off Monday was a win. Easy, simple, clean trade Monday. We swept the previous session, and technically we actually swept the transitional portion, not the actual London session. So right when I woke up Monday, we were right in about here at 8 o'clock. Nice bearish engulfing candle coming back down after we got a bullish engulfing. So I can see a shift in momentum of price action here. Still wasn't time to take the trade, although London was already taken out. I just wanted to wait and see what 930 may have came in and gave us. 930 came in perfectly. Swept 730. 730 originally mitigated this sing candle order block until got this inducement, so liquidity was already taken out. 930 came out, swept the 730 candle, which is perfect. I went ahead and pulled that 930 candle as soon as we started to draw up into a wick, pulled it here. Obvious target was London low and Asian low because that's the obvious next liquidity I see based on how I trade. And then yesterday's low. So when they're close in range or proximity like this, I go ahead and target whichever one is furthest. So in this case, I targeted yesterday low, New York low from yesterday. And of course, as we got down to London and Asian, I just simply managed to trade by reading price action to understand if price is giving me signs of wanting to continue lower or if they're going to come down, sweep London and Asian, and possibly reverse. Price action was pretty clear. Once this 945 candle closed and we closed this gap, I wasn't concerned with the market reversing back up. And then 10 o'clock, we came out and mitigated what is now an inversion here. Mitigated that, and we continued on down and hit yesterday low. So Monday was an easy, clean trade. Tuesday, thankfully, I did not take this trade. It wasn't that clear to me, and I was on a walk at the same time, but it just wasn't standing out to me when I looked at the price action. So 930, I wasn't too hyped about. Although from this point, when 930 candle closed, I was confident they would go down and take out Asian low, but I wasn't hyped about getting into it because although they came into this inversion, they didn't take any prior liquidity. And I like to see New York take the liquid versus depending on London taking the liquidity. So I didn't take this trade. Thankfully, I didn't because had I took the sale, they immediately reversed. Momentum shifted back in the opposite direction. They closed above London. This is one of my setups. I do like to trade when the market decides to close above or below London and leaves a fair value gap. And as we can see, they came right into that fair value gap and they reacted to that, which the gap is really here, but they came right into that gap and reacted to it, held the gap, and continued up into this sing candle order block supply here before they ranged out for the rest of the day. So Tuesday was a little tricky day. I might have took a loss and a win, or I might have lost both times. Who knows? Who cares? Keep it moving. So that was Tuesday, no trade. Wednesday, I was literally walking and I just simply did not execute this trade. I saw the sweep. It happened at 8:45, and sometimes I'm a little indifferent about executing a trade anytime before 9:30. It really depends on what the market gives me, but the sweep was done by a hair. It was 8:45. I kind of felt like maybe I should wait till 9:30 to see if they come out and actually sweep the 8:45 and then go bullish. They didn't. They just went straight into it. So by 9:15, we were here. 9:30 candle closed above London, which was great. Left that fair value gap again. You close above London, leave a fair value gap. That gap holds. They continue up. But as you see, they went up, ended up taking out yesterday's high. So that's liquid taking out the previous day high, and they tapped into this supply area here. In the supply area here, and they pretty much came to a halt. So now this 10 o'clock candle that swept the 9 o'clock candle, 9:45 candle, but 10 o'clock swept 9 o'clock. That's another setup I take. But when you have a fair value gap here like this gap is either going to hold and reverse the market back up like it did, or this gap is going to have to get closed with another gap going down. And of course, by the time I'm looking at this, the window of opportunity just kind of closed on me. It got closer to 11 o'clock, so I ended up not taking anything. But this was a nice trade, 8:45 for the buy. Swept the low of London, liquidity's taken out, gave the price action, could have just pulled the trade, would have caught the buy, so cool. And then coming into today, I pulled it right off 9:30. We went straight up, but once we could not close through this halfway through this fair value gap, I didn't want to stay in it because we had already closed below London. With this candle here, that gap had already been filled on the 7:45 candle, even though that was before the time frame of which I like to look to trade. London had already gave us, well, we had already had directional intent to the downside by closing below London. So once we failed to pretty much close above this gap, especially with all the momentum we had at 9:30, strong momentum coming from the zone, the market pushed straight up without many hesitation. Like this was probably done within the first 10 minutes of the candle. 10 minutes of the candle was still left on the clock when this happened. But we failed to close above at least halfway this gap or completely close this gap in the opposite direction. I was really trying to see if they'd give us another fair value gap going up. That way it could pull back into that and continue up and target London and Asian, but that didn't happen. So ended up closing out my trade like right in here when they start to fluctuate. As soon as they closed, I closed, and that was it. And as I see it came back, would have ended up hitting stop, and it kind of just ranged out for the day. So that's pretty much the setup so far for this week. I may take a trade tomorrow depending on what the market gives. We have an area of liquidity I've been looking at that's right below us. This might get hit, honestly, in Asian. Asian session tonight. Yeah, that's a New York and London low from the past. So we'll see what they do tomorrow. But yeah, so link is in the description if you want to get the free ebook and just read a little bit more briefly in depth about how I trade and how I read the markets, how I trade YM. Again, that link is in the description for the free ebook. And if you want to see the entire system and be a part of a community that is supportive, that is going to teach you and help you and guide you to all your trading goals and needs, the link is also in the description for that as well.